Hey, Shalom. Giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Brakatham to you, hopefully elect. All right. And this is just a real quick, back again through the spirit, because here we go with Esau and, a possible narrative that he's trying to set up, you know, um, being that, he came out and basically labeled this year the year of the poly crisis, and as I always say, America's on the verge of not so one not so major event away from just all hell breaking loose. As a matter of fact, I'll get this real quick. In Ecclesiastes 12:5, it says, "And also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home in the morning, and the mourners go about the streets." All right. But just the point that I wanted to get, because it said that the grasshopper shall be burdened. Because like I said, we're one not so major event away from just all hell breaking loose, because America's economy is so fragile, it's so weak, that all it, it's just a matter of one event, man, that's just gonna, be the end all be all, so to say. And which through the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai, Esau, the top wicked elites, man, they're orchestrating these things, all right, for the most part, because Esau, he's trying to stir up the chaos so he can bring in the order. It justifies him in bringing in the order, but eventually he's going to get to a point where Esau, he's going to lose control, but nevertheless, as has been said, and as we're going to continue to say until that happens, because like it also said here in Ecclesiastes 12, where it said, "In the almond tree shall flourish," basically meaning that, eventually we're going to go from speaking these things, all right? The scriptures talk about the rumor that comes in 1 year in, another a year goes out, and it's just rumor after rumor, roughly paraphrasing, but eventually it's going to go from us. It's going to go from us speaking these things and trying to warn our people to eventually we're going to be living it. The prophecies are going to be playing out. We're going to be living in it. Again, that's what when it mentions the almond tree shall flourish. That's what it's going into. The prophecy is actually playing out. So nevertheless, to those that are watching, stand on their watch. That day's not going to catch us like a thief in the night. But nevertheless, again, a possible narrative of Esau, the top wicked elites. I actually saw this from a few sources, and I thought it was rather interesting. But before I ramble, I'm gonna go ahead and play some of this video by the Angry Pepper. I've done videos based off of his videos in the past. He brings out some pretty informative information to filter out through the scriptures. So without further ado.
Now, the serious problem that's brewing is supposedly one of the fighting parties over there. They didn't clearly say who, which I find to be red flag number one. The fact that they don't know which fighting party took over a laboratory that has contagious diseases in it, right? So, and they're not they're highly contagious, but they're not like level 4 shit, like, Marsburg, Ebola. They're more like cholera, and I think the flu and the measles and things like that. So that's not that big of a deal. But where the serious problem lies is the fact that they're already trying to spin a story up so that when something gets released out of there, they're like, oh, it came out of Sudan. So with that, guys, that's the serious problem, because they're already lining up their story to release something else. They potentially could be, sorry. Not that they are.
So, and I agree. I agree. Again, this is all speculation, but supposedly out there in Sudan with all this fighting and whatnot. Supposedly they found this laboratory of these, you know, diseases or whatnot. All right, which the WHO actually, basically, um, I don't know how they worded it, I don't know the term for it, but basically they put out this advisory just to let people know that, hey, we found such and such, so just to put it on alert, but it could set up, it could be a narrative, because they put it out there now, but they could put it on the back burner for a while until you know they deem it, like, yeah, hey, you guys, remember that we told you about that thing where, hey, because of this and that, which came from such and such, now we gotta, because again, like I was saying, we're gonna have lockdowns again, we're gonna have shutdowns again. All right, people thought 2020, 2021, you thought you seen the worst of it. You haven't seen nothing yet. All right, we haven't seen the worst of it. It was basically all a test run, a beta test for the real deal. And again, they calling this year the year of the pilot crisis. So, I mean, for those that have common sense, you can kind of put two and two together.
There's a potential for it. Now, again, I know a lot of us, man, we look at shit and we're like, we're looking for the conspiracy theory to come out of this. Or we start developing conspiracy theories of our own, which I'm actually doing. With that, guys, it's still something to pay attention to, because the red flag was the fighting party. They said they didn't know which fighting party in Sudan took over the laboratory, and they kicked all the technicians out. So they took the laboratory over, kicked the technicians out. That doesn't mean that the Sudanese are going to start throwing a fucking pandemic party, right? Start releasing shit and having a good time. They're not going to do that. But the fact that they don't know which party took it over, which fighting force took it over, that to me screams red flag, because they should know. They know that they took a laboratory over. They know that they kicked out technicians, but they don't know which party it is. That's a little red flaggy to me. It sounds like bullshit. Nonetheless, they're probably going to spin up some shit down the line, and whether it's a couple days or a few months from now, right? So unless these guys actively go in and start releasing it and start lobbing it at people, the vials, start lobbing vials at people, I don't know how this is going to turn out. And even then, it's in their area. I don't see this thing spreading worldwide as they're trying to lead it to be. Because leave it up to who? World Health Organization. They're trying to make this bigger than it is.
Well, you see, because even though as of right now this is over there, nevertheless, because you got people from these other countries over there, and they're basically trying to, like, you got Americans over there, American officials over there, and they're trying to get those Americans out of there, like, trying to tell them to the hightail it out of there, and that could be a justification, that can be an excuse, to where, again, that could just be like their excuse. So you see this thing, it's spread it across the world, it's spread it from state to state, continent to continent, country to country, or whatever the case may be. And again, it can all be justification for another lockdown, all right, another pandemic, all right, another crisis, world crisis.
I look at it as they're going to screw themselves. They're absolutely going to fuck themselves if anything other than them taking care of it happens. So, again, who? Trying to spin a story. The media trying to line up that story so when some shit happens, people are like, oh my God, the Sudanese did it. Get the Africans. Because that's what's on the table. The Chinese are tired of being blamed for Mr. 19, so they're looking to blame somebody else. And that's another way I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it as the Chinese looking to blame the Sudanese for this, because why not? The Chinese are trying to look like heroes. We're trying to look like heroes through all of COVID. Now they're trying to drop it in somebody else's lap. This is what I'm seeing. This is how I'm looking at it, and I don't see it. I don't see it going any other way, or it looking any other way. Yeah, yes, Could there be an occupying force that took it over and they might screw up? Yes, that's always on the table because people are stupid, right? But again, the fact that Fauci and Mr. Gates stated that there could be something being released next year or 5 years from now, and then this happens, I'm like, now my conspiracy theory antennas are going up.
So, that was pretty much the point, man. Because, like you said, with Moab, the so-called Chinese, the way I see it, them being, let's say hypothetically speaking, the Lord didn't have it to where Esau would be the end and Jacob would be the beginning. All right, hypothetically speaking, China would be the new America. All right, and that would be the direction that we're headed in. So I can see how basically the attention or the blame they would want to take it off for China, or the so-called Chinese, the Moabites. All right, and put it on someone else, because not only that, being that the Moabites, man, they got the yuan, and that's basically as of right now, because we know all roads lead to the MOTB. That's going to be the new way of buying and selling real soon. But with the Moabites and the yuan, they basically just top the dollar right now. So which more and more, with this dollar, man. As I've said, and I've said before, I think the dollar's already collapsed. It's just a matter of time before we start seeing the actual effects of it. The hyperinflation, and it's just a matter of time before those dollars come back to America. And we start to see the effects of it. Just my opinion. But nevertheless, I can see how to me at least it makes sense why Moab. About what he said about how they want to take the blame off them or whatnot. But nevertheless, a new narrative, a new boogeyman. As I always say, it could be something, it could be nothing, which it just reminds me of this here in Ecclesiasticus 5:15. It says, "Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small." All right, so it's just better to pay attention and see how this plays out. Because Esau, man, he's about to because there's already cases, talks about the bird flu spreading, and all these different diseases and plagues going on, but it's just a matter of that one event to shut things back down, to cause a new world crisis, for the WHO to declare a global emergency. And again, there's justification for the lockdowns, the shutdowns, and things of that nature. But up that, I'm gonna just get this, because again, man, the fact that they found supposedly, they found some laboratory. All right, some laboratory was hijacked, and you contain all these diseases and whatnot. Well, let's just see how this plays out. But I'm gonna just read this in 2 Corinthians 2:11. Thus Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right, and part of his devices, Esau's devices, is his narratives that he likes to push. Because these simpletons, these simple Babylonians, man, they believe anything that Master tells them. So, and you see how these people, how they took the first crisis. All right, people were walking around here, looking at you crazy for not wearing a mask, man. And to this day, you still got people out here that in their cars, windows rolled up, driving with mask on, walking outside with mask on. You see people in the gym with mask on. These people, man, they're gullible. They're going to be like sheep led to a slaughter, man. Looking at you crazy for not wearing a mask. So hey, it's just interesting to see how this plays out. Another one of Esau's narratives. We'll just have to wait and see. But it is what it is, man. We're ready to get the hell up out of here anyway. So, Lord, one of this was edifying. All praise to Yahweh Shemo Shai, and double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, hopefully elect out there. Shalom, shalom.